This is an island surrounded by water, big water, ocean water. Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius.
I had the best words. Tolerated. I know words.
Mike Pounds.
I hope they now go and take a look at the oranges of the investigation. But there's no better word than stupid.
Anonymous, really anonymous.
I'm very highly educated. One of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water. I had the best words.
God bless the United States.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
People are flushing toilets 10 times, 15 times.
On the nation, Waldorf Nation, what's up, everybody? It's Thursday. We got a hell of a day today. A lot of news, a lot of things to cover. So, yeah. All right. So, look, there is more, of course, stuff about the FBI as well as the raid on Mar-a-Lago. In fact, look, the first story we're going to get to is Mayor Garland. Has Dark Garland risen? That is a good question. I'm going to show you his actually him coming out and addressing the raid on Mar-a-Lago. I think this is really interesting. So we're going to talk about that. We also have an attack on the FBI building in Cincinnati, Ohio. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about one of the Capitol rioters and the funny excuse that they're using. We have Beto O'Rourke going after a Heckler, which is, you're going to love that video. You're going to love that video. And then Indiana cops suspended after arresting a man that they thought was against the cops. Again, we got a lot of stuff here, law enforcement related today. So why don't we get into it here. Before we do, please like and share the stream. Very important that you do so. Very, very important. Because we got fantastic stories. So why don't we get into it? On Thursday, Attorney General Merrick Garland came out and spoke publicly about the recent raid on Mar-a-Lago and decided to dispel some of the right-wing Trump talking points about that law enforcement action. I'm going to show you some of that, and then we'll get into it.
Just now, the Justice Department has filed a motion in the Southern District of Florida to unseal a search warrant and property receipt relating to a court-approved search that the FBI conducted earlier this week. That search was of premises located in Florida belonging to the former president. Copies of both the warrant and the FBI property receipt were provided on the day of the search to the former president's counsel, who was on site during the search. The search warrant was authorized by a federal court upon the required finding of probable cause. The property receipt is a document that federal law requires law enforcement agents to leave with the property owner. The department filed the motion to make public the warrant and receipt in light of the former president's public confirmation of the search, the surrounding circumstances, and the substantial public interest in this matter.
All right, so basically, we're unsealing the warrant. We're going to make this public. We're going to show you what we were after, what we took, and hey, you know, here we go. This is all the information that you need. Now, the reason, of course, Merrick Garland has to come out and do this is because of the nonstop right-wing attacks. And again, all these assertions that, oh, you know what it is? It's the Justice Department that is plotting, that is planning, that they might have even planted evidence against it. Now, Trump has also said insane things like, oh, you know, we don't, we didn't know exactly what they were looking for because we don't have it. And we've been working with you. And I don't understand why you would do this unprecedented raid against my house. Now, he also said that there was nobody there to watch. Those agents, they ransacked my home. Why? Now, look, again, all of that isn't true. And to go along with the, allegations that the FBI was planting evidence, he could show the warrant. Now, Donald Trump refused to show the warrant. And so here we go. Now, Merrick Garland says, okay, if you're not going to show it and the receipt of what we took, because you're going along with this narrative, or you're spreading this narrative that we are going to plant something, fine, we'll show you the receipts because we have the receipts. And so now look, here's the thing. Trump wants to claim that he's being set up. The whole narrative from the right wing is they're trying to stop Donald Trump from running in 2024. They're scared of Trump. They don't want him to run. Well, I don't want Donald Trump to run. Now, the reason, of course, is the fact that he's a danger to democracy. But that's my reasoning. That doesn't mean that I would be in favor of setting him up. No. I wouldn't be in favor of setting up anybody. That said, it is very clear that he is a liar, he is a serial liar, and that he is a danger to democracy. And so, again, he's lying to his fans, he's lying to people around him, and he is making himself the victim, okay? But in reality, this entire thing could have been avoided if he just didn't steal classified documents that didn't belong to him. So, but there's more. So I mentioned a lot of these attacks against the FBI, these assertions, right? So let me show you Garland's statement on that.
There are, however, certain points I want you to know. First, I personally approved the decision to seek a search warrant in this matter. Second, the department does not take such a decision lightly. Where possible, it is standard practice to seek less intrusive means as an alternative to a search and to narrowly scope any search that is undertaken. Third, let me address recent unfounded attacks on the professionalism of the FBI and Justice Department agents and prosecutors. I will not stand by silently when their integrity is unfairly attacked. The men and women of the FBI and the Justice Department are dedicated, patriotic public servants. Every day, they protect the American people from violent crime, terrorism, and other threats to their safety while safeguarding our civil rights. They do so at great personal sacrifice and risk to themselves. I am honored to work alongside them.
All right. So now, again, the reason it's such a big deal is That's actually pretty strong coming from Merrick Garland. I'm actually really surprised that he came out and said, hey, you know what? Let me set the record straight. And by the way, this is a previous reporting that said that he did not authorize the raid. Well, we find out, because I remember reporting that from the Newsweek article that claimed that. Then he says, no, I did approve the raid. I approved it because of the evidence. Now, I also talked about how that evidence came from somebody that was inside Mar-a-Lago, the inside man, so to speak, which Donald Trump is now on a hunt for, right? He's going rat hunting, okay? In fact, he had made a statement about that as well, and there have been reports. He's mad. He's very, very angry right now, because there was somebody in the inner circle about it's anywhere from about, I think, 6 to 8 people that knew where this information was, and there's lots of speculation about who it is. I'm hearing like, oh, Jared Kushner or somebody else. So interesting. We don't know any of that information yet. We don't know who it is, but definitely somebody sent inside the White House sent a tip to the I'm sorry, not White House, but Mar-a-Lago sent a tip to the FBI saying, we know exactly what you're looking for, and we know where it is. It's right there. Come take it. Come take it. So, yeah, of course, with that evidence, with that tipster inside of Trump world, yes, they were obviously going to go in and to get that material. And so now, again, let me go into the rebutting of the unfounded attacks. Again, I have shown you countless video of right-wingers coming after the FBI, saying some of the most outrageous things, again, about these conspiracy theories. Okay, look, I am not a fan of the FBI. I am a leftist, and the FBI has traditionally been used to crush leftist movements and leftist organizations. I'll let you get into that in another segment here. But in this case, the FBI actually did their job. And they didn't do it in a way that actually could be called a raid. I know I keep using that word, but it's an execution of a search warrant. All they did is they went in and they said, hey, they sent basically knowledge ahead of time to the Secret Service saying, okay, we're going to come and execute the search warrant. And the Secret Service facilitated that and let them into the property. And then went into the areas that were picked out. I believe it was a bedroom, an office, and a basement, and went and found exactly what they were looking for. Some of which apparently located inside of a safe. Gee, I wonder why it was in a safe. Weird. Very, very strange. So, yes, they went in. They didn't smash windows, break open doors, or do anything like that, use drones, etc. And so, saying that this is unprecedented, well, okay, it is unprecedented in the way that it hadn't happened before to a former president, but that's because a former president had never done this. What Trump had done was unprecedented. Clearly by flouting the Records Act, the Presidential Records Act, and again, even though he knew that he wasn't supposed to take these records home, he did it anyway. After being warned numerous times not to destroy documents, he also did that. And there's photographic evidence of that as well. So no, you're not supposed to take that. And yes, the reason that this had to be, that had to go down this way is because of Trump's, basically his obstinance in not listening to what, he is told what he's supposed to do as far as the handling of these documents. Could have avoided all of this by saying, oh, oops. I got the documents that I'm not supposed to have. Here you go. Here's all the documents that I mistakenly took. Or you just didn't have to come in, didn't have to take those documents in the first place. So this is all on him. Everything that's happened. But you see how he's using it to claim he's a victim. But thankfully, and again, this is the last person that I expect, Merrick Garland, finally comes out and says, no, this will not stand. I'm going to come out and say something. So look, great. It's finally, we're finally starting to see some strength from members of the Biden administration when it comes to Trump. About time. And again, it does make me think of, is this the start of Dark Garland and actually getting tough on Donald Trump and Republicans? I hope so. Again, I'm not saying be tough on Republicans just because I don't like Republicans. Be tough on the ones who are breaking the law, who are flouting the law, people like Trump, people like that who are the actual danger to democracy. All right, let's move forward. Speaking of people who are unhinged and a danger to democracy, let's go to some news that happened earlier this morning.
Updating the breaking news now, a law enforcement source telling Fox News there has been a shooting and a standoff at Cincinnati FBI headquarters. Multiple shots fired, an assailant has fled. Garrett Tenney with more. Garrett.
Yeah, Harris, this is a developing situation. What we are told now from local reports, as well as those sources from our own Jackie Heinrich, is that there is this ongoing situation about 50 miles northwest of Cincinnati in a field there off the highway where about 4 miles of highway have been blocked in both directions as this suspect is now in a field exchanging fire with law enforcement. This comes after a long car chase about an hour from Cincinnati, where this morning around 9:30 a.m., the suspect had some kind of encounter at the FBI building in Cincinnati. It is unclear exactly what happened there. Local reports suggest that there was some kind of interaction where the agents described the individual as creating a potential threat. A law enforcement source does tell our own Jackie Heinrich that the suspect attacked the FBI office in Cincinnati, possibly firing a nail gun and then brandishing an AR-style rifle before fleeing the scene, which kicked off this car chase, which is now concluded out in that field about an hour northwest of Cincinnati, where they are now engaging with that suspect. Harris?
All right, so that was a report from earlier today after the FBI office in Cincinnati, Ohio, was attacked by an armed assailant. So as far as I know, the situation continues to be a standoff in a cornfield. So now, let me give you the details here. The FBI Cincinnati office had issued a statement earlier today saying that approximately at 9 a.m. this morning, an armed subject attempted to breach the visitor screening facility at FBI Cincinnati. And after an alarm and a response by FBI special agents, the subject fled north onto Interstate 71. He got out of his car, after being chased by police, and has exchanged fire with law enforcement in a field off the highway. Wow. Okay. So, gee, I wonder if that has anything to do with the raid on Mar-a-Lago. Now, I don't have any definitive statements on like what a motive is. So a lot of what I'm going to say is speculation. Okay. But for me, when I look at this and I look at the past couple of days of rhetoric from the right wing against the FBI, I'm going to show you examples of this. I think, of course, yes, it is related. This to me, and again, I could be wrong about this, but this seems like you have an unhinged MAGA chud that is very, very angry about the raid on Mar-a-Lago, deciding to go in and try to attack the FBI. I don't think this is a coincidence. In fact, look, I'm going to show you some of the rhetoric here that I believe may have inspired this person from, again, many in right-wing media. Listen to the things that they are saying.
Updating the breaking news now, law enforcement.
All right, let me get to the right video this time.
Jesse, it almost feels like a preemptive coup.
This is the worst attack on this republic in modern history.
This is a direct threat to freedom, and if it's allowed to stand, it is the end of the constitutional order.
This is meant to prevent Donald Trump from being able to run again.
This is about stopping him from running in 2024.
It's not just an attack on Donald Trump. It's an attack on everybody who supports him.
If the FBI can send 30 agents to the home of a former president, they can do it to you, to me, to everybody listening to us today.
The FBI right now is the Gestapo.
The FBI is corrupt.
This is undermining our faith in not only the peaceful transfer of power, but in the executive arm of the government under an opposition party not to act like the Stasi, not to act like the secret police that we've seen in totalitarian regimes.
You really are now seeing the ugly face of a tyranny.
And I agree. I do not think it's beyond this administrative state and their deep state apparatus to actually try to work on the assassination of President Trump.
I would not put assassination behind these people.
I wonder why someone who listens to that, would want to attack the FBI. Huh? Oh, if they can come for a president, imagine what they can do to you. They'll come for you. Hey, I got news for you, dumbass. They can already come for you. Now, they could have always came for you. The reason that they didn't is because you didn't steal documents from the White House. I mean, I love how this, oh my God. Can you imagine the FBI coming for me? Coming for you? Regular people? They ain't coming for you, dude. Not unless you've actually done crime. Which in this case, crime. And by the way, the total irony of the whole thing is that it was a misdemeanor until Donald Trump signed a law to make taking classified material a felony. Supreme irony and karma. I mean, seriously, though. But again, you watch this, you listen to this, and if you're a Fox News viewer, I don't understand what it's like to be in constant fear all the time. I mean, it's because they seem to only have two different modes. That is rage and fear. And a lot of the times, it's both at the same time. That's what that channel does. It's not about educating you. It's not about letting you know what's going on with news, right? No, it's about scaring the hell out of you constantly and then making you furious, making you think that the government is going to come for you. When in reality, it's rich people that don't want the government to just, make them pay their taxes. That's really it. So again, now here's the thing. The real interesting thing about this. So look, the right wing, as I said, they've been making a gigantic fuss about this. They call it a raid, okay? It's an executed search warrant, okay? There were no, let me tell you what a raid is actually like. On Wednesday, the FBI conducted another raid. You probably didn't hear about it. But they raided a black socialist group. According to reports from Democracy Now!, leaders of the African People's Socialist Party say that the FBI had carried out a violent raid on its properties with flash grenades, drones, guns, zip ties, and everything. This was on early Friday morning in Missouri and Florida. So now the Pan-Africanist group has been a longtime advocate for reparations for slavery and a vocal critic of U.S. foreign policy. That raid appears to be connected to a separate indictment of a Russian man who was accused of using U.S.-based groups to spread Russian propaganda and tampering with U.S. elections. So now, my question is, did anybody on Fox News talk about this? Has anyone on Fox News talked about this violent raid where they came in, aimed guns at people, okay, literally zip tied them, threw them in the back of a car, or made them sit outside as the FBI had ransacked this office? They used flashbangs against an elderly couple. Indeed. But you don't hear about it on Fox News because it was against black socialists. That's what a real raid is like. Coming and asking telling the Secret Service, hey, we got a search warrant. We need to go and look, and we know exactly what we're looking for. So we'll just, we'll be in and out in a little while. Oh, by the way, here's the receipt of what we have. Here's this and here's that. All the paperwork is all in order. Oh, okay, we'll go on in. Big difference, right? Huge difference. The right wants to talk about this, though. They want to talk about the raid against Mar-a-Lago as it's the worst thing in the world. It's tyranny literally coming to your door. Oh, and if they could do that to that, then they're going to do it to you. No. Look, that same office, by the way, or I'm sorry, at the same time that office was being raided, you also had the office of the African People's Solidarity Committee being raided as well. You know what they did? They had a battering ram to slam through the door. They shattered all the windows with the flash bombs. You had 2 white people in there handcuffed at gunpoint. The right wing, is Fox News raging about that right now? Are they using that as an example of why we should defund the FBI? Are they talking about this at all? No, of course not. You don't hear a goddamn thing. A goddamn thing. Oh, but freedom. Freedom is being destroyed because a white rich man had a search warrant on it. No. And so look at the difference, right? Trump gets his home search for stealing documents. The right responds with lock and load. I've shown you those tweets before, those posts. We're losing our freedom. It's all tyranny, 100%. Left-wing groups, so have consistently, over the decades, have gotten far worse treatment from the FBI. Far worse treatment. In fact, the FBI has worked together with the CIA to overthrow left-wing governments in South America. The right wing, though, cheers about that because they hate the left wing. They hate it. And it's very ironic to see them today. You have this, again, I would assume he is a chud that has grabbed his gun and decided to go through and try to break into the FBI building to likely shoot and kill someone, now having a shootout with the cops. Oh, but somehow it's the left that's dangerous. No, we know who the real danger is in our society. It ain't the left. It's the far right. Moving on. Since the January 6th Capitol riot, hundreds of Trump supporters have been charged with crimes, ranging from parading, demonstrating, and picketing in a Capitol building, a lot of them misdemeanors, of course, to obstruction of an official proceeding, to serious charges like seditious conspiracy. Now, in that time, where, again, the over 800 people that have been charged have used some interesting defenses, interesting excuses. One of them, if you can remember, I thought we were able to do this, to come into the Capitol building and smear poop all over the walls and smash doors and windows. I thought that was allowed. I thought it was the people's house. Another one, of course, pretended to be a journalist. Oh no, I'm live streaming, so that makes me a journalist, even though I'm with the rioters when they're smashing things. Okay. Other things that were ridiculous were, I'm just a tourist. I was just here to see the art. The fancy Capitol artwork. Wow, great stuff. And then somehow I just ended up being mixed in with the mob. I didn't do anything. One of my favorite ones, actually 2 of my favorite ones. One was, was I in the Capitol building? I thought it was the White House. Wow. Wow, I didn't even know where I was. How could I be an insurrectionist if I had no idea where I was? And then the best one, I was just here to defend the muffins. You know, to make sure the other rioters, while I sang the songs of my people, defending the break room so that, you know, people aren't stealing the muffins. Stealing the muffins. Now, of course, we have a new, just completely flat out lie. One rioter, Brian Bettencourt, said, "Oh, I wasn't actually at January 6th. I wasn't at the riot at all." Despite, of course, video evidence and other evidence, as I'm going to show you. No, I was out handing Bibles. I was handing Bibles out to people. Now, this is according to statements he had told his parole officers. You see, Bettencourt is a convicted burglar and white supremacist. Prior to the Capitol riot, he asked his Maryland probation officials if he could travel, since, of course, he is prohibited from leaving the state without permission. Now, well, of course, the Division of Parole and Probation said, okay, look, go ahead. We don't think you're going to do anything bad. You say you're going to go and, hand out some Bibles. Okay, sure. In fact, Bettencourt provided his probation officer with updates throughout the day and said, this Bible business that I'm doing, I'm handing out these Bibles, but we're running real late. I'm not going to be home by the normal curfew time. And so I'm just letting you know. Okay. Now, he claims that, again, that he was handing out Bibles on behalf of the Christian group Gideon's International, except, of course, we find out that he wasn't. Because, again, we have numerous pieces of evidence that show that he was at the Capitol riot. In a recent plea deal, Bettencourt acknowledged that a story about distributing the Bibles was a ruse. Instead, video showed him clad in a shirt bearing the logo of the Proud Boys, attending Trump's rally on the Ellipse, after which he then joined to storm the Capitol, with an angry mob of fellow Trump supporters trying to prevent Congress from affirming the win of President Joe Biden. Oh, interesting. Now, that's far from handing out Bibles. I'm just saying. In fact, that seems to be pretty un-Christian-like behavior. But to be fair, of course, this guy does not strike me as a very devout Christian person. In fact, Bettencourt is described by the FBI as a white supremacist living with his mom. Oh, sad. He told law enforcement officers that he's a member of several different white supremacy organizations. Bettencourt has also voiced homicidal ideations, made comments about conducting a school shooting, and has researched numerous mass shootings, and has stated that he has wanted to run people over with a vehicle and kill them in church. Because, of course, very stable genius. And I say genius because of how he got caught. These are not very sophisticated people. On the day of the insurrection, he was still wearing his ankle bracelet, which is GPS. Oops. In addition to being able to trace his movements with videos, photographs, and other evidence from social media, investigators used the GPS data to show that Bettencourt entered restricted areas of the Capitol. To which I say, oops. Not very smart, are we? No, didn't really think that through. Because, again, of course. Now, his defense lawyer, though, and this is where it gets a little bit sad. I mean, the whole story is sad because, man, at some point you kind of feel pity for how unintelligent these people are. How do you tie your shoes in the morning? Like, how do you get up without falling on your face? How does this happen? Well, but again, you feel bad because they're dumb. But you also feel bad, at least I do, for other reasons. Now, the defense lawyer also described him as a lonely person a product of an abusive childhood who gravitated to right-wing extremist groups out of a yearning for community, for a place where he felt wanted. I think that right there is, look, a good time to remind people that the right wing is targeting the young. They're targeting young, lonely, desperate men with histories of mental illness. Why? Because, well, they're easy to bring into the movement. They often, again, bring these people in, subject them to white supremacist, white nationalist propaganda to turn them into monsters. Oh, you see all the problems that you're dealing with right now? You see the issues that are really brought on by the corporatocracy that we live in, and how, companies and wealthy people are basically screwing all of us over. But they ignore all that and they say, no, your real problem, it's the Mexican. It's the guy who came over the border to try to find a better life. That's the person that's making your life horrible. Or, of course, they've gotten a lot more open about it now than they used to be, because they're also saying things like, well, it's the Jews. Of course. Those are the people that are making your life terrible. But, we're a family here. We all hate the same people that you do. Because it turns out they're making our lives better, even though that's not true at all. And so this is how it works. And I think we as leftists, we need to find a way to counteract that. To, and again, it's offering things like community and support to young men before they become radicalized online. And I think that's something that does need to happen. We need to do more support for younger people so that they don't get sucked into these horrifying right-wing movements that are incredibly hateful. And so there are groups on the right that are dedicated to finding this and filling them with this hateful propaganda, meme culture, while again providing them with people that, and again, the whole culture around that also serves to alienate people away from those who might actually care about them, right? Family, friends, and really isolate them and drive them further into the arms of these online extremist groups. And so, that's what happens. And again, I'm not asking you to feel bad for him. He did some pretty serious things, some terrible things. He, of course, did lie. He's a white supremacist, all these horrible things. But you have to understand that we do need to get to these people before the right wing does and taints and poisons their mind. By the way, one more thing here to note. In case you're wondering or thinking that he's a patriot, right? No, this guy also says he would sell out his country. In a conversation Betancourt had with authorities during the plea negotiations, he says, when asked if he regretted the decisions he made on January 6th, he said, "I did not live a life of regrets." Bro, you're not only, had been convicted of burglary, which is already, it shows that you were in a bad situation to begin with, but then you fell into the cult of Donald Trump and listened to a very allegedly wealthy person only interested in their own power. You let yourself get used by that guy. I have no regrets. And says, my only regret actually is getting caught, because I then wouldn't be able to join the military. Look, I doubt the military would take him in, again, with his history of mental illness. But then says, look, I just wanted to join because of the sense of brotherhood. And says that if he is unable to join the military in the United States, he may attempt to join the military of a different country or become a mercenary. Gee, I wonder what other country he would become a soldier of. That he would try to join. Oh, right, probably Russia. He would probably try to join the Russian military. I would put money down on that. So, but look, again, on the one hand, yes, this is a sad story of people with mental issues being manipulated. But on the other hand, this is also a dangerous person who is a criminal who did try to help end our democracy and has absolutely no regrets about doing so. Eric Prince would hire him. Perhaps. Let's see. Chuck Langler says, come on, the police or military would love to have him. Well, maybe the police. Depending on where they're at. Fair. Okay. A would-be heckler was shouted down after laughing at dead children. So this happened during a speech by Democratic candidate Beto O'Rourke, and I want to show you the video of this event. Take a look.
Now 11 weeks since we lost 19 kids and their 2 teachers shot to death with a weapon originally designed for use in combat, legally purchased by an 18-year-old who did not try to obtain one when he was 16 or 17, but followed the law that's on the books, ladies and gentlemen, that says that you can buy not one, you can buy 2 or more if you want to, AR-15s, hundreds of rounds of ammunition, and take that weapon that was originally designed for use on the battlefields in Vietnam to penetrate an enemy soldier's helmet at 500 feet and knock him down dead, up against kids at 5 feet. It may be funny to you, motherfucker, but it's not funny to me, okay? We're going to make sure that our kids who are starting their school year right now, that they don't have to worry about somebody walking into their school with a weapon like this.
That may be probably one of the best Beto O'Rourke moments ever. And again, I've been critical of Beto O'Rourke. I'll get into why a little bit later, but I thought this was excellent. Because look, very, very human moment, right? Yeah, if somebody laughs about dead children, and again, could you imagine laughing at people who got shot? Children again. No, the right-winger sociopaths. They don't give a damn about kids being torn apart by these weapons. They're totally fine with it. Oh, I got to defend my freedom. Because the government's coming for us. Yeah. Again, the whole thing is absolutely ridiculous. No, what kind of person would find this funny? This is not indicative, by the way. And I said, right-wingers. I mean, like, far right. I don't think this is indicative of the average gun owner who actually does support things like common sense gun regulations. No, these are the sick people. And of course, they support Greg Abbott, who made guns after Uvalde easier to get. But why I like this interaction and why it's gotten so much views online, so much attention, is because it's very human. Yeah, I think anybody would have this reaction. If you hear somebody laughing about dead kids, like, listen here, motherfucker, that's not funny. Why are you laughing? What kind of person are you? Do you have any human emotions? Now, look, the reason that I, had criticized Beto before, and by the way, this extends to a lot of Democratic politicians, and just not just Democratic politicians, I should say most politicians all over around, is that usually they're pretty fake and phony. And the reason is, again, they can't do anything without a focus group, without these consultants that are whispering in their ears. But moments like this, that is where they show that, yes, they are indeed human. I think one of the big problems before is that he had listened to those consultants, for example, when he tried to take on Ted Cruz. My advice to Democratic politicians, don't listen to the consultants. Just be a human being. Just be a regular human being. That's all you need. Especially on this issue. Again, the idea, I mean, the issue of children being murdered at school, thanks to the fact any lunatic can go and get a gun because you have people that work for the gun manufacturers, right? That see profit. The fact that this happens because of the greed, yeah, it pisses people off, and it should. It should piss off everyone. And yes, voters do want people who are not just outraged about these deaths as much as they are, but somebody who actually wants to do something. I actually do think, for all the criticisms that I've had of Beto O'Rourke, I do think he actually really cares about this issue. And we all should care about this issue. In fact, again, Republicans, you should also care about this issue. They're also your kids that are being gunned down in schools. And not just in schools, all over the country by the same people. And so they, again, people who have issues, serious issues, or just incredibly hateful, violent people can get their hands on weapons. That's not right. And we should have rules and regulations to prevent people like that from getting their hands on powerful weapons. And you could do that while also still believing in the right to self-defense and the right to carry a weapon. So again, everybody should be outraged about this. And look, I know that Uvalde has been basically fading from the radar. I get it, right? It's kind of out of the news cycle nationally. But Beto's still talking about it because that is a real issue, and it impacts real people. Nothing has been fixed in relation to, these tragedies because, again, you have politicians that work for their donors, even if it means your kids are killed. And then their followers will then laugh at those children for being killed. There are some sick people out there. And this is one of them. And again, I really like Beto's response to it. Okay. All right. To be a representative, one should have the ability to feel immense empathy. Donald Trump's bone spurs, you are absolutely correct. Of course, if we had that requirement, the vast majority of politicians wouldn't be in office. To be fair. Two Indiana police officers are in trouble after doing a false arrest on a potential town council candidate, because of his possible stance on police. So, look, this is a very odd story. So let's get into the details. Now, first, Brookville Police Chief Terry Mitchum and Officer Ryan Geiser were suspended with pay, unfortunately, from the 9-person police force in Brookville, Indiana. This is on Thursday by the town's council after they had arrested another candidate, Trevin Thalheimer, on false drug and rape charges. Wow. Okay. So now there was a July 19th hearing where Franklin prosecutor Chris Huerkamp dropped charges that included drug possession against Trevin Thalheimer after an officer and witness recounted how Brookville police had talked about Thalheimer. So, again, more details here. Officer Geiser, Ryan Geiser, was apparently not a fan of Thalheimer running for city council. Now, according to a friend, Elise Whittemore, who had testified under oath in court, Ryan Geiser called her to ask her to run for that seat that Thalheimer was running for as well. He had mentioned specifically that Thalheimer had an interest in the race, saying this, quote, "We don't want him on the town board because he hates cops." 3 days later, that same officer arrested him on a phony drug charge. Now, that officer was allegedly investigating a report, allegedly, as I said, from Thalheimer's neighbor that some of the items in his house was missing, and Thalheimer was watching my house. And so, did he steal my stuff? Geiser went to Thalheimer's house and spoke with his roommate and alleged that he had smelled marijuana. He returned with a search warrant January 30th and arrested Thalheimer because of alleged drugs that he had found there, which actually did not exist, but also added in a months-old rape allegation that a prosecutor said that he was not able to substantiate. I.e., we don't have any evidence. Sorry. We can't really do anything. No evidence. So again, the cop just kind of throws that in there and says, well, I smell marijuana. I think there's drugs here. And also rape. Right. Okay. Now, Geiser testified that another officer had told him that there was new DNA evidence. But Geiser didn't know what that was. And that he wasn't an officer on the investigation, but decided to throw that in anyway. I mean, who cares? The guy allegedly hates cops. So let's just arrest him anyway. In fact, the police chief, and this is where he stepped in, because he obviously should have known better, instead said, oh, you've got this, warrant and everything. All right, well, go ahead and arrest him. Just arrest him. Get him out of here. Now, he also said he didn't recall, this is Geiser again, mentioning Thalheimer to the friend Elise Whittemore, but he said that he thought Thalheimer did not like police and that the chief was not a huge supporter of him. So basically, we think he doesn't like police. We heard they want us to get body cameras. Now, again, this small town in Indiana is one of the few in that area that don't require police to have body cameras. And so apparently Thalheimer's in favor of body cameras, and that is enough to make him seem like he's anti-police. Oh, because police accountability, that makes you anti-cop. Right. Okay. No. What they did is, again, they wanted to destroy his political career. And they were very successful, by the way. Thalheimer, after the arrest, decided not to run in the May 3rd primary for town council because the 2,500 resident town had heard about this, these allegations, this arrest for alleged drugs and rape. And of course, you can understand how that would destroy your career in such a small town. In fact, immediately after he got out of jail, where he was held for about an hour, interestingly enough, he said he couldn't leave his bed. He said he felt he had been destroyed by the criminal charges, which had exacerbated his depression and anxiety. He said, quote, "I have a bad taste in my mouth about politics. I knew politics was dirty, but I didn't know I'd have to dumpster dive." Now, that's a good quote, because unfortunately, it is 100% true. Yes, politics is dirty. It is incredibly dirty and disgusting, and worse when you have corrupt cops. Now, again, I told you that he eventually had the charges dropped, but it took months. It took months for this to happen, for these charges to be dropped from Thalheimer. Now, Heerkamp, who also did not pursue the alleged rape charge that the police had investigated, said that he was, quote, "disturbed beyond words by the alleged police conduct," and reported the incident to the Indiana State Police, who are now launching a criminal investigation, or who had launched a criminal investigation. The transcript of that hearing was made public earlier this week. Now, for Thalheimer, again, now we have an investigation. Okay, we don't know. We'll see what happens. But for Thalheimer, he said, that's not enough. You not only destroyed my political career based on nothing, you also arrested me and put false charges on me. So yeah, I'm going to pursue a civil rights claim. you denied me my civil rights. You went after me. By the way, he also said that he'd never considered himself anti-police before this experience, but now, well, I think that seems to have changed. He said that he and his criminal defense attorney, Judson McMillan, have wondered whether the police were concerned that he would have been in favor of requiring officers to wear body cameras. McMillan also said that Thalheimer is not his first client, or not his only client, to face false or exaggerated charges. Now, that, of course, is very, very disturbing. Yeah. So cops making up charges and arresting people. So now, look, this does happen. Police do plant evidence. But the thing is, and a lot of right-wingers, don't really understand this. They don't go after powerful people like this. They only go after people who can't fight, who can't defend themselves. Generally, ethnic minorities. Poor people. That's who they go after. And so understand the difference here. People that cannot fight for themselves, who cannot fight back against these charges, those are who the police tend to go after the most. So, and again, that's just dangerous and devastating. Now, McMillan, again, he said Thalheimer, while it's not his only client to face false or exaggerated charges, still he said it was highly unusual for the prosecutor to step in to stop the case, as Heerkamp did. In a legal maneuver, McMillan said he had seen just twice in 20 years. Now, I think that is also very interesting about that. In fact, Heerkamp said this is the first time he joined a defense motion to suppress charges. He said, quote, McMillan said, that's the scary part, is that these things are happening everywhere. Well, I mean, it is true. And again, they always go after the weak. They always go after some of the most powerless people, or people they, I guess, could perceive as possible, I don't know, people that might want to hold them accountable and stop them from crime. All right. Anyway, that's all I got today. That's all I have time for. So thank you for going around the nation meet today. Let's read some super chats if we have them. Well, let's see. Maridarno, thank you for the very kind $2, saying, welcome to Third World America. True. Very, very true. Very true. All right. So that's it. That's all I got. Thanks. Where are your emojis at? I actually have to go and make them, and that's I'm not very good with art stuff. I just gotta find time to do it. Let's see. Anything else here on Twitch? Doesn't look like it. Oh, yesterday I did forget to thank Occam's Taser for gifting a tier 1 sub. So, all right. Yeah, that's all I got. Let's raid, by the way, Twitch into, let's see, let's go back and do a raid into reactions. That's Ravana, of course. Everybody else, thank you. Please like and share the stream. Very, very important. Helps us out. That's it. We'll see you all later. Love you all. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. You have a great night.
And why their due process rights are being so flagrantly and horrifically violated.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Disappointed!
Tolerate.
Obama! It's not human intelligence! We're under attack! It's the devil, okay?
They're kicking me out the door. They're kicking me out the door.